Good afternoon. My name is Rania Tadros, and I am the managing partner of Ince's office in Dubai. I have over 20 years experience working in maritime law matters. The first 15 of those years were spent in London, and the last 6 have been spent in Dubai. Ince is a renowned international law firm working on international maritime matters, and it has a reputation that is second to none. There was a question on British radio last week as to when it is legal for ports to deny entry for vessels. The context of the discussion was the impact of the coronavirus on shipping. As you will know, the World Health Organization has declared the outbreak as a public health emergency of international concern. As was discussed on the radio, this has had significant impact on shipping. It has led to the shortage of vessels in certain locations, and it has had a detrimental impact on the rates for certain types of vessels on certain types of routes. Shipping is a global business, and in order to get a comprehensive answer to the question of when a vessel can be denied entry, one would need to look at the laws and the port regulations in each and every jurisdiction. But let's look at the position in the UK. The 1985 Dangerous Vessels Act gives authority to the harbour master effectively to refuse entry or require removal of a vessel in particular circumstances. I will read those circumstances. That is, if the harbour master considers there is a grave and imminent danger to the safety of any person or property, or if he believes that entry of the vessel will prevent or seriously prejudice the use of the harbour by other ships. The Act is very helpful because it provides further guidance as to how the harbour master should exercise this discretion. It also provides, in determining whether to give any directions, a harbour master shall have regard to all the circumstances of that case, and in particular he shall have regard to the safety of any person or vessel, whether that person or vessel is in or outside the harbour, and including the vessel in question. We aren't aware of any cases where this has been interpreted in the current context, but one can foresee a situation where the harbour master could determine that the current situation gives him the right to exercise those restrictions on vessels entering. Directions given under the Dangerous Vessels Act can be overridden by the Secretary of State. And in this circumstance, we'd expect the Secretary of State to delegate that right to the Secretary of State's representative at the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency. We're going to be reaching out to the SOS rep in order to see whether he is able and willing to provide any further guidance as to how these directions would be implemented. There are also some materials available online which seek to show which port restrictions apply in which jurisdiction all over the world. Obviously, ship interests need to be updated on these directly from their local port agents as the situation is evolving and every day produces a new story. In one European port, we understand that if a vessel has been to what they call a coronavirus-affected country in the preceding 15 days, then there should be limited contact. For example, they will allow the vessel entry based on remote pilotage. So the next question is, well, what is a coronavirus-affected country? As you will know, there have been incidents all over the world. In that port in particular, at the moment, the only countries listed are in Asia. It includes Hong Kong, China, Japan, Malaysia, Singapore, and a few others in Asia. In that port, if the vessel also reports an illness, then the vessel will be refused clearance. The vessel is reportedly has the right to appeal that decision. But if you have a vessel coming from any of those countries with an illness on board, then the vessel will be refused entry. That is not the current position in the UK. We understand that in the UK, there are no reported restrictions on vessels entering ports. However, local port health authority must receive crew lists, crew change information, and a maritime declaration of health information. There are certain ports like Cornwall where we understand that further information is being required if the vessel's last port of call was in China. It also would be relevant to consider the Port Marine Safety Code, which sets out some of the obligations on port authorities in order to ensure that the ports are kept safe. It also sets out obligations on the ports to maintain entry of vessels. So it's ultimately going to be a matter of considering the risk in the situation. The Port Maritime Guide to Good Practice makes reference to harbour authorities taking, and I quote, reasonable care so long as the harbour facility is open for public use, that all who may choose to navigate in it may do so without danger to their lives or property. There can also be legislation out of the maritime context, and I'm thinking here of the Civil Contingencies Act of 2004. This applies in cases of emergency, and that will be classified as an event or a situation that threatens damage to welfare. It would include if there was a perceived disruption to transportation, or if there was a perceived risk of human illness. So it is possible that that act would also come to apply, and in that situation, the harbour master and the local authorities are required to liaise with the services agents, etc. I've purposefully not sought to look into the complicated contractual implications between the party or to consider whether force majeure might result as a result of the coronavirus, because that would be very specific to specific contractual relations between ship owners and charterers. As a firm, we've considered these issues quite closely with our clients, and we've written, in fact, on the potential impact that these clauses might have on global trade and on the relationship between the parties. That article can be found on our website. As I said, we continue to support the stakeholders in the maritime industry all over the world as they face legal and operational challenges as a result of the coronavirus. And I hope you found this helpful.